All right, welcome back to another episode of the Pin High Podcast presented by Golficity. I came this close, just this close to having two winners in a row and gaining all of Jeek and Trevor's skins, but instead, Trevor took the dub for our second straight winner pick with Rory McIlroy's 20th PGA Tour win. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Ricky Fowler's emergence potentially on the PGA Tour. And then we're going to preview the ZOZO Championship in Japan with some picks for that. So let's get into it.
This is Jordan Spieth here, and
this is the Pin High Podcast.
All right. Episode 103. Let's get inside the ropes. Rory barely fended off Colinmoore attempt to break the course record on Sunday, which it honestly looked like he might just do, and two for my attempt to get two winners in a row, get all your skins, which I still could do.
Yeah, you have some tournaments left.
It makes it a lot harder.
You're hot. You're hotter than the sun right now. Our podcast as a whole is hotter than the sun right now.
I'm flaming.
But, yeah. Pat is feeling it. Rory won. That was. It felt like one of those tournaments that Rory just, not even like he wasn't in control, but he was just lurking. Then finally, kind of struck on the weekend, which was nice to see from him, who hasn't been having the best year.
I mean, you kind of put it perfectly when you were researching the pick. It's like it made sense. Like, he's good at Tom Fazio courses. Like the whole thing, like, it aligned, and I thought about taking it, but I had to ride with my Colinmoore pick, which really I thought it was going to backdoor.
Yeah. So going into Sunday, Colinmoore is down 7 strokes. And I'm like, okay, down 7 strokes, he probably needs to shoot like a 61 to even have a chance. And like, what does he come out with? Did he come out for 61? No, he came out for 62. So 61 would have gotten him in a playoff, which was crazy. I mean, through the front 9, 29 on the front 9, just like almost birdie after birdie after birdie. Got to the back 9, 11th hole, he made a birdie, and then what did he make? 7 straight pars. And then I'm like, all right, he's out of it. Rory's got 3 shots on him. Like, no way. And then all of a sudden, eagle on the last hole. So, like, he was never truly out of it.
Changed a lot.
Now, Rory, on the other hand, I mean, he made his eagle on the 14th hole. And that really was what it did for him, because it was pars all the way in. And, I mean, he played 18 very conservatively, but, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get it done.
Wouldn't. Which was, it was 18 was a par 5. Like, I knew Morikawa had eagled it, and I assumed it was a par 5, and then I saw Rory, like, I was flipping back and forth between football and that, and I saw Rory get to the AT&T instead of par 5. I said, unless he hits a terrible drive, there's no way he's bogeying this hole. Like, he's gonna make par at the worst, like the absolute worst. And he played conservative, and that's all he needed to do was just to get on the green, 2-putt for par, and win the tournament.
And I will say he had a really good driving day on Sunday, to the point where he might have found something, because, I mean, he was just hitting the ball crazy far, crazy straight the entire day. It felt like he never missed a fairway. He had the 3-wood in his bag that he was hitting like 320 yards, which is just crazy. And like obviously they were in Vegas and distances were a little bit further, but like his swing speed was like 117, which is just absurd for a 3-wood. So, I mean, maybe Rory found something. Who knows? Maybe he's back to his old self.
He was second in strokes gained off the tee, and can you guess who was first?
Ricky Fowler. Who also had just an amazing driving week, which is unreal.
I mean, the thing with Ricky Fowler is, like, as we were seeing, like, this, like, really bad stretch of golf he had, call it like January through, like somewhere in the summer he started turning around, but it was still too late for the FedEx Cup playoffs. His off the tee stats, like, were not bad. It's just his putter was so horrendous.
Yeah, that's been which I like. You would have 6-7 years ago, you would have thought the complete opposite, just because of how hot his putter it seemed like every week, and it just seems like it's completely flipped, which is hard to believe almost, but
I wonder what his putting stats were this week. I honestly didn't see them, but
I think right now looking at it, he was minus 0.21 strokes gained putting per round.
He was 51st in putting this week, so it was really his ball striking that got him
below
into
average.
contention.
but
Which,
his
his
putter
ball striking
before
was
that was
unreal.
like not even there. It was like
Yeah.
he would rank like
Which is
100th in the field.
It's crazy to say because Ricky Fowler, like in his heyday, was like an unbelievable putter, like one of the better putters on tour. So, I mean, that's probably the last part of his game that needs to come around. But like his ball striking has been really good, like kind of to start the year. And I don't know, maybe he's figured something out with his swing and he's kind of on his way back.
You'd hope so.
Mm-hmm. It's good for golf if Ricky is
Rory too
playing like
And
this. Rory too, yeah. But like if Ricky, a Sunday pairing of Ricky and Rory in 2021, like if you have told me that 6 months ago, I wouldn't have believed you that we would have had a Sunday pairing between them and Rory would have won. Like that was like those are two guys that we almost didn't really not write off because Rory's still really good, but they were basically written off like the whole year of just being like average, or in Ricky's case, just very below average on tour.
No, it's nice to see Ricky, be back in the mix, and you could kind of see it coming like at the end of last year, like he was turning it around. So, other guy. So I swear, every time that GM Golf or Good Golf has like a tour pro on their channel, they do unreal. And Keith Mitchell it was Keith Mitchell and Grayson Sigg just did a 2-man scramble against Garrett and Grant. And then Keith Mitchell comes out firing this week.
Yeah, 22 under this week. Another a good week for Keith Mitchell. I mean, the leaderboard, like, I don't want to say it was like super like packed. I mean, you had Rory, you had Colinmoore, Morikawa, Ricky Fowler was up there. Adam Scott had a good week. Sam Burns has been unbelievable this year. Cameron Smith, Sungjae Im, Gary Woodland had a good week. Harry Higgs. I mean, there was a lot of names at the top of the leaderboard that you would want to watch on a Sunday round of golf.
It was a great field, that's for sure too, which helped a lot with that. Like 24 of the top 30 were in the field or something like that.
Yeah, it was a really good field, and I mean, the golf course. I feel like we should talk about the golf course a little bit. I mean, it was a very nice golf course. You can see why it's so exclusive. I didn't even realize Colinmoore Cal is actually a member there, so like even more reason to pick him last week.
Well, I know I sent you guys like
he was there already.
Yeah, you did. That's right. I didn't. That's interesting.
He went straight there after the Ryder Cup.
Right. So I mean, that's his home course, I guess. So,
but
I mean, yeah, it was an interesting course, but I will say the scores once again super low. I mean, 23 under, 25 under, 24 under. I mean, I don't really like watching golf like that. I wish they could make it a little bit tougher, but I mean, the course was very nice.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, Rory shot 62 Saturday, Morikawa 62 Sunday, which is fun. But you knew once Rory got to 25 that he wasn't going to drop strokes really, which is kind of
you kind of want to see that. Yeah.
The only way was on was 17 a par 3 or 16 a par 3? I think 16 was like if he put it in like the front greenside bunker, but like he wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, they were going to avoid that at all costs.
There wasn't really much rough or anything. It was kind of just like bunkers really, but like when you put these guys in fairway bunkers, it's no different than really being in the first cut. So
yeah, exactly. So do we want to get into this like new segment we're doing for winners and losers?
Sure.
All right, so Jeek, I'll let you start.
Yeah, so first winner this week is Colinmoore Morikawa's putter. So, I mean, we all know Colinmoore Morikawa, one of the best ball strikers in the world, but his putting was actually below average the last couple of years. And obviously, when he gets hot off the putter, he does play really well and usually will probably win or come in the top 5. But this week, he ended up 11th in strokes gained putting and gained more than 2 strokes in round 4. So things could be looking up for the putting. And I mean, if Colinmoore Morikawa figures out the putter, that's a scary proposition for the rest of the PGA Tour.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, looking at, I went deep into data golf today because I had heard about it, and it's like, honestly, it's like the coolest thing in the world. But looking at like Morikawa's 2021 season, there's like 4 or 5 weeks where he had positive strokes gained putting, and then this past weekend he was plus 1.07 strokes gained putting, like a massive increase compared to last year.
Yeah,
I mean, if you remember,
I'm wondering if he
Tour.
figured something out, or if like it's just one of those 4 weeks, and like we've had one of those weeks already. I don't know.
if you remember at the Colonial, I believe it was the Colonial, he like lipped out on like a 3-foot putt, 2-foot putt to like lose.
Yeah, I mean, like he's just not a great putter statistically, but he's
then,
such a good ball striker that he's always in contention.
If I'm not mistaken, he also missed like a 4-footer at the Memorial against Cantley in the playoff, just straight putt 4 feet and missed it.
Yeah, and both those, the workday, which you mentioned, plus 1.06 strokes gained putting, and Memorial plus 1.42 strokes gained putting, you won the workday and finished second Memorial. Like if he has a good putting week, he's gonna be at the top of the leaderboard. It's just you just don't know when those putting weeks are gonna come because they're so inconsistent.
And that's pretty scary for the rest of the PGA Tour.
Yes.
Now, the second winner we have this week, Ricky Fowler, is a winner. Now, you could put him in the loser category because he really didn't like have a great Sunday, and he had the 2-stroke lead going into Sunday, but didn't win. But I mean, he did play solid all week. He went 66, 66, 63 in the first 3 rounds, and then had a 2-stroke lead, but shot 71 on the final day, which is not great. But some promising things. We kind of mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but I mean, Ricky Fowler was first in strokes gained tee to green, first in strokes gained off the tee this week. And that kind of means that things could be looking up. I mean, ball striking was great. And if you look at last year, Jordan Spieth was kind of going through the same thing. He had a couple of tournaments at the top of the leaderboard before he could pick up a win, and it couldn't really hold on to the lead on Sunday. So this is kind of feels like that. So maybe Rick could do the same thing. Maybe he'll have a couple of good tournaments and, try to get his career back on track.
Does the PGA Tour have a comeback player of the year award? Is that a thing for them? I feel like they should, but like that it's never crossed my mind.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't heard of that.
But this is like you said, like the Jordan, well, in the doc at least, but Jordan Spieth, great comeback last year. Ricky, this could be the one person per year just come back and play well. It could be Ricky.
It feels.
I would love. We would all love to see.
I mean, I would love to see Ricky play well in a couple more tournaments before I could say, okay, like he's on the Jordan Spieth track, because that's kind of how Jordan did it. He played well in like 4 straight tournaments and then finally got a win. So I mean, I don't know. It's looking like that though. If Ricky could keep it up, you almost have to think he might win at some point this year.
Right. So I'm
gonna. The way he played the first 3 rounds, I think you definitely could say that. And just probably been a while since it's been so long he's been in contention. Like maybe there's a little more pressure in that final round paired with Rory. Like who knows? Maybe a smaller tournament, not as good of a field, he gets it done. I don't know.
Something to watch.
What were you gonna say, Pat?
I was gonna say I'm gonna give a huge congrats to my winner of the week. His name is Kyung-Hoon Lee. And I'm going to show the screen here for a second. He was voted the sexiest golfer at the CJ Cup. And he was quoted saying, "I have several goals in life. The first is to become the number 1 golfer in the world, as one golfer's goal would be. And the second is to become the number 1 sexiest golfer in the world." And, hey, big step here at the CJ Cup. I think he was like 50-1 to be the sexiest golfer. So maybe next week.
Was he actually? Those weren't actual odds, were they?
No, they're not.
I mean, who's going to be sexiest golfer at the ZOZO next week? Is that a thing that we're handing out every week?
I don't know.
That's
I think
true.
He might start putting up Tiger numbers for odds going into ZOZO, like minus 140 to be the sexiest player.
To repeat. Yeah, that's like you're right. That is like Tiger odds. That is like I don't think I've ever heard that uttered, like the word like sexiest golfer in the same sentence when we're talking about like a PGA Tour event and a PGA Tour golfer.
If prior to this week, unless people start throwing their hat in the ring, if you just said you wanted to be, the golf media would just be like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, probably.
We'll see if anyone.
He seems like he has the personality though.
No one's really after that.
He's like that. He's like that champion that no one wants to fight, so they just like stay a champion. So we'll see.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. Harry Higgs could be in the conversation.
Could be.
Yeah, Harry Higgs probably has a word to say. He's probably has beef with it now. He's probably gonna come for that title.
We should tweet at Harry Higgs from the main account saying that he should go up against Cam Hootenley this week for sexiest golfer.
We should. That's actually great. That's a great
We'll do
idea.
that after the episode if you remind me.
Well, Harry's definitely listening to this episode right now, so
clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
All right, so for a loser, I have strokes gained approach. Rory was 67th in strokes gained approach out of 77 players in the field. And Justin Ray, he finished with negative 3.58 strokes gained approach. The tournament of more than 600 shot length measured PGA Tour events across all 4 rounds. That's the fewest strokes gained approach by a winner ever.
That just shows you how good he drive the ball and putted the ball this week. Like that literally is all that says.
He's first in, I think he was first in strokes gained putting, and like we mentioned, second strokes gained off the tee. Which is like, and the fact they didn't have to, and all we talk about every tournament is, strokes gained approach means so much, and he didn't even need to use that. Also, Rory having a hot putter is very scary as well. If he gets the putter hot, it's kind of like the Morikawa, like,
yeah,
something big could happen if he has a putter hot all year.
He gained 6 strokes with his putter this week, which is absurd. Like, that's just crazy.
And then another loser. I don't know how it's referred to on the PGA leaderboard, but here we got Seung-Hyun Kim. He hit a putt on 18 for birdie and was hanging on the lip for about 20 seconds and dropped. Honestly, I don't even think it was 20 seconds. I don't think it was, because I watched the clip. And it was not. I watched the clip and it was not that egregious. I didn't even think it was really like.
I think it was over 10 seconds still.
Oh, is it 10 seconds is the rule?
I believe so.
Then yeah, it probably was,
But yeah, so he thought it was going to be a birdie, right? And like, you know, it fell after 10 seconds. He went to address the ball and it just fell into the cup. And he's like, wow, that's a birdie. Great. About an hour after, the PGA Tour comes out and say he gets a 2-stroke penalty because he let his ball sit for too long.
It's a lot.
So a birdie turns into a bogey. He drops out of the top 20 and he loses a decent amount of money. And I mean, like, he's not a household name, so like that money could have went a lot of places for him. So that
imagine you have a top 20 bet on him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Worst beat of all time.
Bad. Yeah.
Well, that's like if he didn't know for an hour after the round, like, it's one thing if it's a penalty, but if he didn't know for an hour and nobody told him for an hour or whatever, that's ridiculous. That he didn't. He assumed like, oh, I finished top 20, I'm getting all this, like, I'm getting this money, and like people are like, he's happy. Like, granted, it's not like a win or anything like that, or a top 5, but it's still like them telling him after an hour of reviewing it. Maybe I don't know what was going on. That's kind of ridiculous in the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and it ended up as a T32. It would have been, I think, a T18 if that putt counted, pretty much.
I have one more loser actually, and it's the coverage, which you mentioned on. We texted about it a little bit, but like it wasn't on until 5 o'clock our time. Like we weren't able to watch it at all. Like I tried to watch it on like NBC Sports app or something like that, and there was just you couldn't watch it at all. And they're on like the front. Colinmoore was making his run, and you just couldn't watch it until 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's kind of an O. I mean, that's kind of it's off season per se, but I mean, still, you got to show it something.
Still,
like
it's they're showing. Like it's like the senior tour, the senior tour is playing, but like they didn't even like at that. They find at 5 o'clock hits, and they finally put it on NBC Sports while the senior tour is finishing on Golf Channel. But it's like, what else is going on NBC on Sunday afternoon? There's no football on NBC on Sunday afternoon.
Right.
Maybe soccer sometimes, but like that's
not really.
There's nothing really going on that's worth that. Yeah. I don't know. I wish I checked, but like it's like there's just there. I don't know. It's that's frustrating. I think we couldn't watch Colinmoore. Like even like granted, a lot of people were watching football, but we couldn't watch any of that final round really until it was almost over at that point.
I mean, yeah, I think we still got a solid like 3 hours ago.
No, we did
because they were on like the West Coast, so they were behind a little bit, but like still.
So it's just PGA Tour, NBC, always bad with the whole money, and this just makes a bad viewing experience. But
well, maybe eventually they'll get the rights will get like tossed to somebody else, not NBC, like TNT and ESPN, like the NHL did.
give it back to Fox. Loved it on Fox.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into skins with the course preview for the ZOZO Championship. But first, a word back.
You probably noticed us wearing some new Rowback merch over the past few episodes, whether it was the hat both me and Jake are wearing right now. Trevor has one as well. A pullover or a collared shirt. We're partnering with Rowback in 2021, and we couldn't be more excited. So head to the link in our bio, add the Rowback merch you want, and you'll get 15% off just by using the link. So enjoy and crave activity.
Let's get into skins. Okay, we have the ZOZO Championship this week. We're back in Japan. We're at the Narashino Country Club. Definitely butchered that, but par 70. It's 41 yards. It's a lot of dog legs, somewhat smaller greens, because actually the way they built this course is there's 2 greens on each hole. One green has like a certain type of grass that's good for summer, and another green has like bent grass, which is better for winter. I believe they're going to be on the bent grass greens this week. It's also not a very traditional par 70 course. There's 3 par 5s and 5 par 3s, which you don't normally see on a par 70. It's very tight tee to green, and not really any drivable par 4s, but I mean, there's still going to be some pretty low scores this week, I'm sure. Key stats, I would look at driving accuracy. If you're not accurate this week, I think you could kind of get blocked off by some of the trees, especially on some of the dog legs. Strokes gain approach, strokes gain off the tee, similar type of situation there. And then previous winners, Patrick Cantlay won last year, but it was at Sherwood Country Club, so doesn't really count, not the same. And in 2019, of course, Tiger Woods. So yeah, interesting tournament this week in Japan for the first time in a couple of years. So it should be interesting to see.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start, and I'll try to get my back-to-back wins back on track, so I can get all the skins. Go with Will Zalatoris plus 1800. I honestly maybe would have gone with Colinmoore, but Jeek got to him first. I think Colinmoore has a pretty good shot too, but Will Zalatoris, really good ball striker, really, really good off the tee. Like, I'm pretty sure last year he was like 9th in strokes gained off the tee. So I like him this week at that value with like not a great field. And then my best bet's Adam Schenk top 40. It's not out yet, but it's definitely going to be below minus 150. He's good off the tee. His ball striking's in really good form right now. I think so far this season he's 19th in strokes gained approach. And he's coming off a T3 at the Shriners. So Adam Schenk this week. Look out.
Yeah, so I'll go next since you kind of gave away my winner, and I'm going to go Colinmoore. Now, it's only plus 700, which is not really great odds, and I usually kind of stay away from those. But when you look at the names on the leaderboard this week and in the betting, I mean, it's tough not to pick Colinmoore. I mean, he's really one of the only guys in the field that's accurate off the tee. He's 12th in driving accuracy, and then approaching, he's 4th. And like we said earlier, when the putter gets hot, I mean, round 4 last week is a prime example. I mean, there's no other player that's better than him. So he'll look to stay hot coming into this tournament with the putter, and by far, for me, he's the favorite. Like, if I had to pick anyone, like life or death, Colinmoore would be the guy. Now, I mean, I know Xander is the guy who has the best odds, but I think just the way Colinmoore putted last week, just combined with his stats, he's the guy for me. My best bet, I'm going to go CT Pan top 40. I mean, he's been in really good form. T11 and T6 in his first 2 starts. Kind of one of the only guys that's been near the top of the leaderboard in both starts. He's also shown really good strokes gain approach this year. He's 11th, and he won the bronze medal in Japan earlier this year. So maybe that correlates a little bit. Kind of makes sense. So CT Pan top 40 is what I'm going to go with.
All right, so I'll go with my winner, Joaquin Niemann plus 2,500. Again, probably one of the better players in the field, and good off the tee, good approach, decent putter, not the best. Didn't have a great putting week last week, but he's pretty accurate and he's got good distance as well. So I'll go with him to win, and then I'll go with my best bet, Ricky Fowler, top 20, -125. I'm riding the hot hand. Great driving the ball last week, great accuracy, good distance. I'm just hoping his putter gets somewhat average. It was not best week, I guess, but I'm hoping he's off that week last week and gets top 20. Can't do that, so those are my picks.
I like it. I like riding Ricky. Somebody's got to pick him.
Exactly.
So first round leader, I just put this in. There's no odds out yet, but I'm gonna go for Hideki Matsuyama. I mean, from Japan, kind of. I feel like he's definitely played this course a couple of times before. I don't know.
He's a good first round leader.
He is a good first round leader guy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out and won this tournament.
I would say I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, he played well at the Olympics as well, so he was in that like bronze medal playoff, I believe. So we'll see.
7-man playoff or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. Yeah, I like that one. I was looking at him actually before when I was picking between him and Wells Zalatoris, but I went with Willie Z to get his first dub.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very top-heavy field this week. I don't think we really mentioned that. I mean, Xander, Colin, Matsuyama, Zalatoris, Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Joaquin Niemann, and then a big drop-off. So
that's kind of why I feel like we all pick those top guys, like ish.
Yeah.
Because it's like I just feel like this is a tournament where one of the big guys wins it because the field's not very strong.
Yeah.
Japan. People don't want to travel. It's
exactly. No, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how Xander plays.
The defending Japan champions, though. So
I could easily see him win too, but those odds are kind of criminal.
They are. They're like Tiger odds almost.
All right. Do we have anything for in the clubhouse?
We don't.
We could do We could do another field. Guess who?
Yeah, I'll find a name. We could do that. Okay, I got someone.
Okay. Are they American?
Yes.
All right. Are they a righty?
Yes. No, I did it last week. If it ends up being a lefty, then like you won.
Yeah, it's a good. It's not an awful question.
There are a lot of the American question is not that bad this week. How many other Asians there are in the field? I feel like
that's true.
This is Japan. Did they win on the PGA Tour here?
Did not win on the PGA Tour last year.
All right.
Okay.
Ask
has he won general?
Yeah, has he won?
Has he won when? Just like in general, ever on the PGA Tour?
Ever.
He has not.
He has not.
Okay. Would you consider him to be a tall man, as in 6 feet?
Yeah, I would.
Does he have any sort of social media presence at all? Like, has he been
That's a good question.
Affiliated with anybody, or
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Are his odds over 100 to 1?
Over 100 to 1. No, they are not.
So that means they're better.
They're better than 100 to 1. So like less than that.
Wait, so just to clarify, his odds are like the 90 to 1, 81, lower than that. Okay, got it.
Is he under 25?
No.
I kind of know who it is, I feel like.
I feel like I know. I think I have a guess, but I don't want to.
All right. Are you not going to ask this, Trevor? Like, can I go?
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know what to ask.
Okay. Is he better than 50th in strokes gained off the tee? This year?
Yes.
It is Luke List.
It is Luke List. You got it.
Yes.
Wow.
I chose the most random name on the list that I was going down, and I wanted to choose.
No, it's not random.
I mean, I wanted to choose an American, so that's where I ended up. I was between Luke List and Ryan Palmer, whose name is like 2 names above his. So he did. So when you said did he win on the PGA Tour, If you said if he won, I think he won on the Corn Ferry Tour last year, so that would have been that would have put you in
I
like
think I knew it. Like I kind of low key knew it. Like question 5 or 6, it was Lukeless, but like I wanted to keep asking.
Asking questions. Of course.
Anyway,
Yeah, I wrote it
I
down.
feel like that's all we got. What's next week after the ZOZO? I feel like nobody's gonna play in that.
not sure, but I do.
Well, not many guys are playing this week,
Bermuda,
so.
the Bermuda Championship is next week.
Oh,
Does that mean is there a
geez.
WGC?
Oh, it's the Brendan Todd Classic.
Right. I do want to plug real quick. We
Okay.
on our YouTube, if you watch on YouTube or if you listen on the podcast, go to our YouTube, Pin High Golf Media. We are starting to do some top 10s. So kind of like the end of the podcast last week, we had one. Trevor put one in today. Today's Monday. So yeah, we're gonna try to put out a top 10 every week on, I guess, Mondays. And yeah, I mean, take a look at those. There's some interesting top 10s that we have ready for you guys.
Yeah, go check that out. Pin High. Is it Pin High Media now on YouTube?
Pin High Golf Media on YouTube.
Pin High Golf Media on YouTube. We will see you next week for the Brendan Todd Classic.